Alright, here we go again. New to the channel, then you should know the 3 simple rules are no blah blah intro, no pausing, some yada yada at the end. That's it. Anyway, we continue with part 2 of the Ricky Gervais Show Christmas special. Lego.
Heroes by David Bowie on Radio 2. I'm Ricky Gervais. With me, Stephen Merchant.
Hello there, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year indeed. And across from us, the little fellow who presses the buttons because, to be honest, we can't be bothered.
Yep.
Karl Pilkington.
How would you describe Karl Pilkington for people who didn't hear the show last week?
For who didn't hear the show, Karl is, and he won't want me saying this, because he won't fully understand it, one of the most stupid men I've ever met.
Yes.
He has a perfectly round head.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. You can see pictures of him. Go to rickygervais.com. We've put up some photographs, just snapshots, and honestly, his head looks like an egg.
It's not an issue though, is it?
What?
We're on the radio. Doesn't matter.
It's just trying to, paint a picture for people though, Karl. It's important.
In fact, I have painted a picture. You can go to the BBC website and you can, I think you can win that if someone hasn't already.
Can you download it as wallpaper for your computer? You can. So if you want to see a cartoon representation of Karl, then there it is.
It's an original signed by me. I mean, it's not Damien Hirst.
No, sure.
But I mean, I think it's pretty accurate, Steve. I mean, for people who can't see it, but you can see a real photo or the. But that's Karl Pilkington, one of the most stupid men alive. You know, some people still think that he's an invention.
I know.
He think that we invented him and we give him lines and stuff, as if we could do that. What? And we shaved his head as well, and made him live in Manchester for 20 years. It's
people who've not experienced Karl before. Hopefully there'll be plenty of Karl later in the show.
Well, actually, we've got Karl doing a sermon for the Church of England. It's been requested by the Church of England, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
So
I actually went and bought him a little Bible. Right? He did have a Bible. He said the Bible's too heavy. It's got no pictures. So I bought him a children's Bible, which is embarrassing asking for that in Waterstones.
Yeah.
For a start. And even that was too much for him. He was going, there's 200 pages. I mean, the writing, the letters, the font was about, I'd say, half a centimetre high. Right?
Yes. Yes.
And but you've read it, have you?
I haven't read all of it. I just got some of the highlights.
So
You only gave it me the other day.
So we're doing the history of religion, are we? Coming up.
What do you mean?
Well, what do you mean? What do I mean?
No, I'm just doing a little taster. What the problem was, right, last week?
What do you mean, little taster? What are we
Just in
trying to
case
sell
someone hasn't-
Bibles? It's
No,
the
no.
biggest selling book in the world. They don't need it. I thought you were going to do a message, a New Year's message.
No, but it's kind of been forgotten about a little bit, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Because of Harry Potter and
Yeah,
stuff
you
like
say
that.
the Bible these days. He goes, what's that? What do you mean the Bible?
No, but I'm just saying, there's probably, a lot of people out there who've sort of gone, oh, it's an old book, and once something's been around for a bit, you don't sort of visit it. It's like...
So this isn't Harry Potter we're talking about. This is the Bible.
Yeah, I know, but...
It's still very popular, Karl.
But this film's out. Do you know what I mean? There's films
Brilliant.
that have been and gone, and it's like, oh, no one's talking about it anymore, I won't bother.
So you're giving the Church of England a little bit of boost.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, it's Christmas.
Excellent. That coming up. Well,
Last week, like I just asked, last week on the show we were talking about the gift that you'd arranged to for your girlfriend.
how long have you been going out with her again?
11 years.
I think it's about 11 years.
11 years, your life partner, he got a gift when he left his old job of a camera. He didn't even unwrap it, he just passed it on straight away, like passed the parcel to his girlfriend. We were giving him some stick. Everyone, about 90% of people phoning and saying, you are a skinflint, it's awful. How did it go down?
She loved it.
Did you tell her?
Did she love it?
Yeah, I think she likes it,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, she didn't really have a go on it. I was playing about with it on Christmas Day.
Brilliant.
Showing her how to use it and that, and said, she's paid for a holiday for us to go away. I said, take it on that, use it. She's loving it.
Did you tell her before you gave it to her that you'd got it as a leaving gift for your previous job?
Yeah, just before. I mean, I wasn't going to, but because of last Saturday, you sort of put a bit of pressure on and stuff, and I went off and bought her a watch.
Nice.
Because I thought a little extra...
One of those ones with a little
present.
calculator on? From a Texaco?
No, it's alright. It's like a little square Art Deco, the fella said it was.
It is nice, I've seen it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
no,
So
but
she-
And how did you tell her when you came in with the big news?
What,
that,
about the
that you
camera?
hadn't bought the gift?
I just I said, oh, you said you wanted a camera, didn't you? And here's one I got from work. Anyway, here's another one.
Right.
So I just sort of told her, but moved on quick.
Brilliant.
fine.
And also, you gave us the devastating news last week that just before Christmas, your mum's budgie died. How was Christmas in your household? Was it?
Little bit down. Little bit down, with any death, it's always sad, isn't it, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly budgie.
Well, I mean, how long she had it? Probably lasted about 8 years or something, which is pretty good, isn't it, for a budgie?
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Came unexpected, wasn't ill.
Right.
And what I spoke to her the other day and I said, how's it going? Because on Christmas Day she was down.
Yeah.
Been calling her up every day. And I spoke to her the other day and said, how are things? And she said, She said, well, the other bird that's in the cage, she's got some sort of parrot that's in the same cage as it.
Right.
It's been a bit down.
Sure.
It's missing its mate. So what she did, she'd kept a few feathers from the budgie that died, right? She got a rock, a couple of sandwich fasteners, stuck the feathers on the rock. The other bird's happy now.
Wow.
Now I know that your mother explains everything.
And if you ever die, we just get a tennis ball, stick it on the end of a broom, she'll be happy.
Handbags and glad rags by Rod Stewart. That would make a good theme tune.
Brilliant.
Wouldn't
And then it would work really well, perhaps on a DVD. presumably that would still be available in the shops. Great for any, you know, New Year's vouchers you've got.
You're listening to Ricky Gervais on Radio 2 with Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington. So good Christmases, yeah, all round.
Definitely for me. Had a great time, yeah. Carl?
It's alright.
How does it rate with, what did Suzanne get you?
She got me, you see, you were having a go at me about giving her, a camera, right? Which
was given to you, which was second hand. Essentially second hand.
It doesn't really matter that bit. But it's a present that both of us could use, right? And you were making me feel bad about that. That's why I got her a watch, right? Which in a way I can use because I can say what time is it.
Sure.
But
it's Chico time, isn't it?
But the thing is, right? She got me a little printer.
Oh yeah, that's good, yeah.
Well,
What, you mean a little fella who works in a print shop?
Just a little printer to go with a computer and that. But for me, again, that's a present that, you know, we can all be using.
You are so ungrateful.
It's not that, it's just that, you know, when it's good when you're a kid, isn't it? When Christmas is all about, like, your presents.
What did you want when you were a kid? What's your best present you ever had?
There's a few things. I mean, one that I always remember one Christmas, right? It was the year when computers first came out.
Right.
And there was one called the Sinclair Spectrum that I wanted, right?
What year are we talking, 80?
Must be 80, 83, 84,
Right,
yeah. And, anyway, I think my mum and dad's got me one. You know, it's under the tree in a big box. I'm thinking, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Not the size of a computer. Brilliant. Anyway, Christmas Day comes, you know, I couldn't sleep and all that, excited like you are as a kid.
Yeah.
Get up, open it. It's not the one I wanted, right?
Really?
It's not the Spectrum, it was a ZX81,
Okay.
right? So I thought, well, I've best not show that I'm disappointed in that. You know, even as a kid you have sort of, you know, that thing of
You've
saying,
lost that, now you say, oh, it's not what I wanted, Suzanne, but go on.
yeah, but, you know, so I sort of, you know, pretended I liked it and that. I thought, oh, just play some games on it, I'll just get on with it, right? Anyway, I try and
Sure, even as a kid he had the weight of the world. I know.
His parents have saved up for it.
Look at his frown lines. Look, he's frowned since he was about 4.
Yeah.
Look at those lines.
Right. So, yeah, but this is why. You'll understand in a minute when I tell you the end of this story. Go on. So, I load up a computer game, which used to take about 10 minutes. Right?
Was it on cassette? You had to load- oh, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a fax machine, doesn't it? Yeah.
Right? Anyway, it wouldn't load. I was thinking, what's up with this? Is it broke? Right? And I kept trying it. And my dad sort of, my mum used to get up early to open the presents with me. My dad got up at about midday, he couldn't be bothered. Right? Anyway, he comes down, I'm
so telling. This
I
is
know, the picture he paints is so heartbreaking.
It's like Alan Bennett or something. Or Dickens.
Yeah, or some of those kind of 60s back, like Kathy Come Home, sort of, you know, really
in sync dramas.
So anyway, so I'm there, right, frown growing and that.
Yeah.
Trying to read this book, thinking, why isn't it working? So my dad has a look, and he goes, oh, you're missing a bit. I said, what? He goes, you need a RAM pack, right? Which is a bit that you put in the back of it that gives it extra memory.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what do you
need one of them.
I'm like, what do you mean? It's Christmas Day, right? And we're talking about the days when, like, Tandy wasn't open.
Sure.
It wasn't open for days.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like now, by lunchtime Christmas Day, everything's open again.
Yeah, sure,
right?
yeah.
Then you had to wait about 2 weeks. Everyone like had a big holiday and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh God, I actually started to be sick, like, with frustration.
Oh no!
What?
How old were you?
Do you know what?
How old were you?
Well, like I say, I don't know. It must have been about 8 or something.
Oh.
But that thing of like, what it's Christmas Day and I can't play with it, and I had to wait for like 2 weeks, what have you. Sat over the kitchen sink, sort of going, stressing out. Hated it. It was a rubbish Christmas.
Jeez.
I love the idea of you going.
Stress, isn't it?
What did your dad say?
He just sort of said, look, calm down, we'll get you one when the shop's open. And it's like, yeah, but 2 weeks, isn't it?
I have never heard anyone being sick from stress.
Oh,
Poor little kid, just so stressed.
Oh my god, he got
Before the trail, we
sick.
heard Feeder
Amazing.
on Radio 2. Steve Merchant here with Ricky Gervais, Karl Pilkington. We were talking before that about rotten gifts, and particularly gifts that Karl's received in the past. We're just actually thinking now, because we've got to give away this, we haven't got to give away, but we're generously giving away a Eurythmics Platinum Disc. So if you're a Eurythmics fan, or indeed if you're not, but perhaps you know someone who is, and maybe you got some rotten gifts for Christmas, then you can get in touch with us, let us know what the worst gift is that either you received this year, or maybe even in the past, you know, something that really you just was terrible. Maybe you, like Karl, had the poker face when you received it, you politely opened the box, but inside you were dying. But you can get in touch with us, 88291, we've got the email gervais@bbc.co.uk, or you can phone us, 0500 288 291. The worst gift ever will receive the Eurythmics Platinum Disc.
Well, talking of gifts, I got my girlfriend a few gifts, a trip to Paris and a few little bits and pieces, and one of which was a trip to the theatre.
Nice.
A thing we'd walked past before and we'd wanted to look really great. The Woman in Black, which is on at the Fortune Theatre in Covent Garden. I bought a 4 ticket so, you know, we could, she could take some people. She chose to take Karl and Suzanne.
Well, of course, now I think it's a scary play, isn't it? It's a spooky
It's a
play.
scary thing.
So
It's
you
about
thought instantly
ghosts.
Karl's the man.
Absolutely. And it wasn't it great, wasn't it? And the theatre was so lovely, and the production is so lush, and it's genuinely really it's been going for 17 years. They really honed it, and and it was great watching Karl. At one point, we were in a box, which I'll tell you about in a minute.
Nightmare.
And I just pointed to show Karl that this face was appearing, right? But as as I was pointing, he didn't see me pointing, my finger came into his peripheral vision, and he went, "Oh!" and I laughed for about 5 minutes, because he just saw a finger come in. I wasn't even trying to wind him up in that, 'cause that was such a bonus for me.
Yeah.
And I nearly died. But the reason we were in a box, I went there and I said, "Oh, can I get a box?" And they said, "Oh, the boxes are a little bit small and cramped." I went, "Okay." So I give you some really good seats. So we got some nice seats downstairs. And do people go to the theatre these days to clear their throat
Yeah.
and their nose?
Yeah.
Because I was surrounded by people going, which I find absolutely disgusting. That even annoyed me doing it, and I apologise to people at home listening. And coughing and eating sweets,
Yeah.
chatting about things,
Yeah.
right? And I was getting a bad neck. You know what I'm like.
Yeah,
I just wanted it to be
talking,
silent,
it's fine.
right? So in the interval, I said, I went up to the manager. I said, "Oh, can we wear the box?" And they went, "Oh yeah, fine, yeah." It was free. They didn't sell it. So we went up there, and they let us go in one. The first one, we had to go past some people in the interval, treading past. Sorry. All.
I'm a celebrity, I get a box.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
yeah. So they probably think, oh, they've given it to him for special treatment. I was going to
Yeah.
buy it. It's no extra money.
Yeah,
but they just didn't sell it because it was, you know.
Another reason to hate you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But we went in there was only 3 chairs. So I went, this was the other box has got 4 chairs. Karl went, "I'm not going out there again." Right, so we said, "I'll sit on the floor." Imagine him sitting on the
Were
floor.
you sat on the floor with your little head peeking over the edge of the box?
No, this is it.
So I went, "Oh, let's go." We went out, he was so embarrassed. Of course, everyone's going, "Oh, look." Walking past people again, went in the box. Everyone's looking at the box now.
Yeah.
Right? And Karl was horrified. Karl was trying to hide, but it was
To be honest, I mean, the idea of a box is you get a better view, but I didn't, because I was like, I have to sit right at the back.
Yeah.
I might as well have been, like, near the fire exit. I just was like, I don't want to be sitting
No,
there
that's
doing
not the
editing.
idea of boxes to get a better view. I think it's from days where it was how you were meant to be seen. The boxes face each other, right? And you're meant to see who's in the other box. It was very a socialite type thing. The boxes are probably the worst view in the theatre. That's why some theatres don't actually sell them. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather have to lean forward and see something than be surrounded by people chewing
But
and
it
sniffing.
wasn't that bad though, Steve. That's the thing. You know what he's like.
Oh, well,
I mean,
yeah.
anything that's meant to be like a nice, relaxing night out, whether it's going for a nice, quiet meal, suddenly turns into this like nightmare.
Well, I won't
of
go
an
to public
evening.
places with Ricky, because there's always something that'll annoy him, and then he won't take it out on them, he'll take it out on you.
Yeah.
We gotta leave, it's too smoky, it's too noisy, it's not noisy enough. There's music, there's not music, it's an absolute nightmare.
Well, people annoy me, that's all.
Stressful. So I mean, just the other day, right? I went out for something to eat. Nice, quiet, Italian place. I walk in. There's about 6 people in there having a nice, quiet
Yeah.
meal. Quiet. I thought that's good. He's not going to complain about the noise and that. Sit down. I have some arrabbiata, which is nice and that. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, he starts sort of normal chat, saying how he'd like to put my head in a vice.
Sorry, you'd like to put your head in a vice?
In a vice, yeah.
Not really.
Sort of normal, sort of.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I was just thinking that it would be lovely to put him in one, you know those vice that are sort of attached to workbenches?
Yeah.
Just so, not to, just put it in there so he's caught there, and then I can sort of do paint his head or something,
Sure.
or feel it squeezing. And I just imagined sort of squeezing it too tight, didn't I?
So he's saying all this, right? Which I'm getting the sort of picture enough without sounds,
Right.
But then he thinks, well, why not add sounds? It's quiet in here, right? Start sort of going, so your head's in the vice, tighten it, and you're sort of going, right? So he's sat in a chair, quiet restaurant, doing that. It's like the scene out of When Harry Met Sally. Right? All these, like, tourists and that sat there sort of going, oh, Ricky Gervais over there. And then suddenly, like, from a look of like, oh, that's good, it's Ricky Gervais, to what the hell is going on?
But I just imagine this little head, because what he did, I just imagine him in a tighten, I go,
Is there any other radio show that's ever been on Radio 2 that has had this discussion? Well, no, does Johnny Walker, OBE, ever say, I'd love to put Terry Wogan's head in a vice and see what happens?
Oh dear.
Eurythmics, Here Comes the Rain Again on Radio 2. We've got a Eurythmics Platinum disc to give away, and we'll get to that shortly. Keep your worst Christmas gifts ever coming in. You're talking about, Rick, about the nightmarish people you find now in any kind of theatre and the cinemas, because I love the cinemas, and I'm a big movie buff. And for me, I feel that when I go into the cinema, it should be the red carpet treatment. I go all the time. I'm a big cinema fan. I shouldn't have to sit with, for want of a better word, the scum of the world. Do you know what I mean?
Scum, you mean anyone who isn't you?
Anyone who isn't me. But sometimes, you end up going to the cinema, on a Friday or Saturday evening because you want to be, you don't want to be a sad loner who goes on the Wednesday afternoon. So sometimes you're forced to sort of see these people. And I went to cinema once to see, remember that film Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Yeah.
And I sat there, I thought, this is great. I was nice big seat, it was fun. And this woman comes trundling in. She was huge. I mean, properly mammoth. Like the marshmallow monster at the end of Ghostbusters. Do you know what I mean? Kind of waddling in like that, with this tiny little flake of a husband. And she had everything. She had nachos, hot dogs, big soft drink cartons. You know what I mean? It's like, those people who they've gone out to eat, and they pop into the cinema, and if a film happens to be showing there, they'll go and watch that.
They've gone for a picnic.
They've come to there's a film raise.
Yeah.
And so they've arbitrarily chosen this film. So she's in there. The trailers come on. And it's not only is she greedy, but you can tell she's stupid. This trailer comes on for AI. Remember that film, Spielberg film, AI? Yeah. And the trailer is something like, Jimmy is a 12-year-old boy. He feels like a human. He experiences emotion like a human. But he's not a human. He's a robot. Right? And everyone goes quiet. And she went to her husband, how old was he again?
Oh.
So already I'm on my backside, do you know what I mean? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon comes on, right? It comes up, and it's in Mandarin. I think it's an Asian film. And it comes up, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She says, bear in mind she's paid the money to come in, she says, funny name for a film. Which is pretty weird. So it comes up, it says Mandarin subtitles. She goes, not subtitles. It comes on, right? They're all speaking in Mandarin. She, to her husband, turns to him. She starts going, ching chang chong chong chang chang chong.
No.
Ching chang chong chong chang chang ching. Like, during the film. I mean, it's the film started and she's doing that. She's going funny language. Wing wang chang wing chang chang chong chong. And they start both doing it, right?
Oh, God.
So I get up. I'm so angry. I want to make, again, of course, not too polite to actually say anything. So I think I'll make it clear what my feelings are. So I get up, hoping that the seat will flip back loudly and I can storm off.
Knock her popcorn all over her.
Over his stupid face. But sadly the seats didn't flip up, so I just kind of huffily climbed over a few seats, sat down, brilliant, next to a teenage girl on her mobile phone.
Oh.
And she's on there, she's chatting away, no, I'll meet you after, and I wanted to grab the phone for her and say, I'll be honest with you, you're 14, and unless this is your broker in Hong Kong saying the big deal's about to go through, which I suspect it's not, I suspect it's Gavin saying, can we meet behind the bike sheds later? Put the phone down. People who are on the phone in the cinema.
I know.
It drives, I
know, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. See, you're like
but
me.
People always say, why'd you get so angry? Your New Year's resolution should be calm down, chill out, But how can you chill out when this stuff's going on?
What's your New Year's resolution,
no, just
Karl?
with that though, I mean, surely people are allowed to, like, have a chat if a film's got subtitles.
Why?
Because you can read it, it doesn't matter about the noise.
That is the most stupid thing I have ever heard in my life.
No,
that really is the most stupid thing I've ever... So go along with your iPod on.
Yeah, take a ghetto blaster.
Yeah, you could if you can multitask. I mean, that would do my head in, having music, and I don't know what to sort of concentrate on. But if it's only like reading a book when you're on a train, innit? You've got noise around you.
What? What are you talking about? These films cost millions of dollars. Everything's perfect.
The music, the sound effects,
the whole montage, this mixed and someone comes along and goes, oh, I might as well talk to Gavin on my phone. Well, I was reading it anyway. You're an idiot. You're an idiot, Karl. I think your New Year's resolution should be less stupid.
No, I'm doing, I'm going to try and learn something new every day through 2006.
What have you learned today?
Well, I did a lot yesterday, so I'm having a day off today. but no, you know, just well, I did, didn't I? I did the Bible stuff and that. So I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, we've got that coming up.
What's Karl's resolution to be less annoyed?
I suppose I should be more tolerant of others.
Do you know what Ricky said he's going to be?
What?
It's going to be more annoying.
Yeah, well, I just thought.
But this is the wonderful hypocrisy of it, because you've just been agreeing with me about how you hate people who are annoying.
Yeah, but only to friends. People like. The thing is, right? I've got to say a couple of things, right? The reason I sort of torture Karl is because I don't know. I've got friends with defects. I don't know why. All my friends are slightly weird or stupid or something wrong with them. Karl's little round head. I mean, the brain of a fish. Right?
Yes.
I can't get my hands off his head. Robin Ince, he's got glasses. He waddles funny. He's got little thumbs. His thumbs are too short. Right?
Sure.
I can't keep my hands off him. Right? My mate Rob, who did flannels with me, he's got a perfectly round head. His teeth protrude slightly.
He's in America though for when you need a round bald head, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Right, when I go to New York, or and he looks me like Dave Hill from
Interesting
Slade.
that you're collaborating on a book, but he chooses to live in America.
Yeah, but could I just say also that I do not advocate the use of vices on friends' heads. It's dangerous. Do not squeeze your mate's head in a vice. That's just between me and Karl, and you know. And
Ricky Gervais is an experienced annoyer.
And he probably wouldn't let me do it, to be honest. I have to offer him an awful lot of money. Also, do not smoke. There's no point. And floss. I wish I'd flossed when I was a kid. Also, if you've got a bicycle or anything like that for Christmas, please wear the correct safety gear.
Whoa.
What?
Well, I got a bike as a kid.
Yeah.
Right? And my dad, you know, I think the helmets used to come with them and what have you. I popped it on, went out my bike, coming back into the garden. Dad sees me. He said, "Come here." I said, "What?" He said, "I never want to see you wearing that helmet again. You look ridiculous."
Oh, wow. He'd rather take the risk.
No one looks good in them though, do they?
Yes, they do. Wear the helmet.
He's had his son died. Jesus, this looks stupid. Wow.
Neil Young and Heart of Gold on BBC Radio 2 with me, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, hello, and Karl Pilkington.
Alright.
We were asking for the worst Christmas gifts you've ever received, past or present, and there have been some absolute stinkers here. Pete Archer says, "I'm diabetic, and I once got 3 big tins of sweets." I mean, that's just rubbing it in. Cheska says, "I once got a Christmas tree for my brother on Christmas Day."
Was
Long-term present, isn't it?
Yeah.
well, it depends.
What do you mean?
Was it a plastic one or a real one?
We need more information. I got a fly mode from my 85-year-old gran, which was nice, but for the fact that I live in a flat.
Well, you could do the carpet.
There's one here, it says, Sid from Leeds, he says, "I once received a PlayStation 2, which I really wanted. I didn't open it for a few hours while we had lunch, and I was looking forward to playing the game, a bit like you with your ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
I opened up the box, and much to everyone else's enjoyment, there was 2 oranges and a pair of socks."
That's cruel.
But that's like, I mean, that's what kind of a family's
It's
that?
not even funny.
I mean, in Karl's case, he actually forgot to buy the
Or-
pack.
Harvest Festival, the vicar's got a PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
It's just the wrong label. Yeah, he couldn't believe his luck. Coming up, actually, talking of vicars, a lot of vicars listening, apparently. I don't know how many that is. I don't know how many there are. But, Karl's gonna do a sermon. You remember, last week, he insulted vicars, saying they only work 1 day a week. He made a vicar swear.
Yeah.
Who said, maybe if I, give up my 1 day a week, I can become a DJ and do bugger all week. You made a vicar swear.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to. I just
No, Gillian Oliver's phoned in, and she's the press officer for the Church of England. Has invited Karl to do a sermon. We've risen to the challenge. Karl's going to do a bit of a sermon. We just say that's when we've picked on. We're open to all religions here.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, Karl can do a sermon for another denomination. I don't know. You know.
Well, it just depends though how sort of thick the book is.
Right.
So you want a religion with a smaller book?
Just a smaller book, and
I just say I view all religions equally
Yep.
because I am an atheist. So I truly do view all religious beliefs equally. But, you know, just because I don't believe in it, a lot of people do, and Karl is going to basically sum up the Bible. That's what we're doing today, isn't
Should we
it?
play a record and then come back with the first part of Karl's sermon?
I cannot. I mean, honestly, can't wait. I feel like squeezing his head, waiting on a friend. Great track.
Amazing tune.
So, Karl, you've studied the Bible over the last couple of days, and you're going to give us basically the Bible abridged. Is that right? Just condensed.
Just that, you know, it's that time of the year when
Let's
religion, no matter
save
who you
it.
are,
Let's do a sermon. Everyone settle down at home. Turn the radio up. This is Reverend Karl Pilkington with the history of the Bible.
All right, thank you very much. Right, well, thanks for coming. Starting off, you know, I mean, I started off at the beginning of the book, what have you?
The Bible, we'll call it for the sake of argument.
There's quite a bit missing. It doesn't say about how sort of God was already about, so it doesn't go right back to the beginning.
Right, okay.
God's already knocking about and that.
Yep.
Anyway, he made the world, right? He did all that, right?
Yeah.
He sorted out sort of sun for in the day and that, so everything's light and you can see yourself about.
Right.
He did the stars and the moon for at night, right? I was thinking about that. If I was him, I probably would have just let it be day all the time rather than having two systems.
We're not criticising.
No,
gods.
I'm not
Okay.
having a go. I'm just saying. I mean, it's easy now, isn't it, in hindsight, to sort of say, do you know what?
He's really criticising, but he was working.
He's
flying,
sort
you know.
he's sort of loosened the top. You just got it off. Yeah, sure. Yeah, he did a lot of the work. Yeah, cheers.
No, I'm just saying though,
Yeah.
like they mess about with the clocks and that because of farmers getting up in the dark and that. If it was day all the time, less crime and that.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm just saying it might have been worth an idea.
He missed a trick there, is what you're saying.
But he moves in mysterious ways, so you don't know why he's done that. He might be thinking something that your small brain can't really.
Fair enough. I'm not having a go. Like I say, I'm just reading it and thinking about it. That's what it's all about, innit?
Yeah,
Education, get yourself
Absolutely.
thinking.
Yeah,
right?
go on.
Anyway, so he did all that. He made the sun and that, and then he said, "Oh, make some creatures and stuff." He made a load of birds, loads of different birds, creatures, animals, and that. Because with the world being so big, it's like if you buy a big house, you need more furniture, don't you?
Right.
So he made this, and he was like, "Oh, God, what am I going to fill it with?" So this is why he did all these.
Right. That's
animals.
not actually in the Bible. You
this is-
speculated there on the God.
Well, I'm sort of just treating it like it's his big house,
Right.
isn't it?
Okay.
So, and he's filling it, he's making it look nice, different birds and what have you. Right? It's just my opinion. Like I
It's
say.
making it sound like the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
So anyway, right, so he does all that, and he thinks, right, I'll make a little man and a woman,
Sure.
who we all know as, like, Adam and Eve.
Yep.
Little fellas.
Everyone knows their names, but at no point is their surname mentioned. Right?
Well, he's not going to have trouble with the post,
Right.
is he?
So anyway, right, Adam and Eve are knocking about, God says to him, look, just enjoy yourselves and that, right? Do what you want, but I'll tell you this, I'm only telling you once, he said, don't be eating fruit from that special tree.
Yeah.
So they were like, alright, fair enough. He said, the tree that I'm talking about is the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's sort of made it a little bit worse, because it sounds good and that, and you're like, oh, knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, don't go in that door. Yeah,
It's that
exactly,
sort of
yeah.
thing, instead of just sort of not telling them. Because I don't know, see the tree of knowledge, what I add on it by what I can work out is it's an apple tree, right? And it's pretty tempting, isn't it, to have a little cheeky apple, because I don't know what they were eating back then.
Right.
Do you know what they were getting by on?
No, I don't know.
Right, so anyway, so they were like, yeah, alright, whatever. Eve goes for a wander about,
Yeah.
right? Killing time and that. Bumps into this snake,
Oh, yeah.
and Snake said, alright, you got an apple, right? And he was selling it to her, he was going, it tastes good and that, right? And she's like, well, shouldn't really, but, you know, I've been told that I shouldn't eat that, because I think God said to her at some point,
Oh, get on with it. You're on page 1 at the
This is
moment.
absurd,
This
Karl. We
is
gotta
just unbelievable.
I know, but I'm just
Just
painting-
get to the point. You're on page 1. You
but-
haven't moved on. Just get. Okay, we know Adam and Eve. What have you learned?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, he was saying don't eat it, because it's
Yeah,
dangerous.
I know. We know. Get on with it. Just get on. I mean,
But the thing is, people do eat things that are dangerous, don't they? Like, and pufferfish, even to this day, people are eating stuff that can kill them.
Yeah.
So it's not a threat. They're not that bothered. It's an apple, right? They're going to have a little cheeky apple. Anyway, they eat it, right? God goes mental at them. He said, I told you not to do that. I've told you you can enjoy yourself and everything. You've gone against what I said. You've eaten the apple. Adam and Eve sort of got told off and what have you. They went off and had kids. That added extra pressure. A lot of arguments happened, and that's kind of part one.
That is amazing. That is amazing. So, oh, you're an idiot. Really, you are an idiot.
Well, part two later then.
You better buck up your ideas in part 2.
Oh, God, it was excruciating, but at least
On
we
88
got
to
through it.
91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC. What a great track.
Amazing.
Lynyrd Skynyrd, Sweet Home Alabama, on BBC Radio 2 with me, Steve Merchant.
And me, Ricky Gervais.
And over there, both of us.
Yeah.
Karl Pilkington.
All right.
Still to come, we should also point out we've got Rockbusters on the way. It's the quiz that's not sweeping the nation. No one cares.
Oh no, that's not fair.
Well.
No, look at him. Look, he's probably been sweating over that. He's been reading the children's Bible.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's all he came up with. The first people were Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
I mean,
And we don't know what their surname is.
unbelievable. What an idiot you are.
Also in the third hour, Monkey News, which I think we're all looking forward to.
It's sort of like Darwinism versus creation, isn't it? Monkey News, Adam and Eve.
Yeah, it's a bit of everything.
Which do you like? Do you like Monkey News or do you like Adam and Eve?
Also, it's probably worth kind of digesting some of the year's big events, Rick. So maybe we should just cast our eyes back on some of the big
I
news
think
stories of the
people are waiting to see our three opinions on the review of the year.
Yeah. I should just give away this Eurythmics platinum disc that we offered up in the first hour, and we were asking for the worst Christmas gifts you've ever received, and I want to give it to this guy because well, it's not like, you know, I'm sure it's fine, but it's just something about it which really amused me. It's from Toby in London. He says, when I was younger, I got a book about crude oil. I'd never expressed an interest in oil, and certainly not crude oil. But what I love is the parents, is thinking of that gift.
They were shopping, they were going, what oil is it that Toby likes?
Yeah.
I don't even, does he like
It's olive oil, probably. I don't
No,
know.
no, he thinks olive oil's sissy. What's that one he loves the spouting out the ground one?
Crude oil?
Get him the book on crude oil, Mary. Unbelievable.
So Toby, look, you get the Eurythmics Platinum disc. Well done to you. Also in this hour we've got some Kylie collectibles to give away. So we'll probably do Rockbusters, and the lucky winner of that gets those. But I was just looking through the papers, of course, and it's the New Year's honours list today, and I imagine you're very excited about that, Karl.
New Year's honours and all that.
Yeah, you're familiar with that, when people get knighthoods and OBEs?
I've heard about it.
Sir Tom Jones, you got to call him Sir Tom now. You pleased with that? Do you think Tom Jones deserved it?
Well, they sort of chuck him out to anyone now, don't they? So if he wants one, let him have one. Well, it's just, I mean, the way I saw it was, like, you know, the Queen used to give them out to people who, you know, did like big things like killing dragons and all that.
Yeah, that was a while ago, but yeah.
Now it's, you know, from dragon killers to sort of Joe Pasquale.
Yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. You went in the jungle with Ant and Dec. Is an OBE.
Some people actually send, famously some rock stars and big names, they sometimes give their awards back, or they refuse to accept the knighthood. If it was offered to you, Rick, would you accept it, your OBE or your...
See, I don't know, because one, I know it's sort of like not a cool thing, and I don't know if you should align yourself with that sort of thing or whatever, and whether you're a monarchist or not, which I'm sort of indifferent, really. But I would feel rude.
Yes, I know what you mean.
It's you know, after we won the Golden Globes, an interviewer said, do you think you'll get a knighthood? And I went, oh, I don't want a knighthood. And they said, why not? I said, you can't do anything with it. I said, in olden days, you could ride a white horse along and have a big sword. Nowadays, you can just put it on your headed notepaper.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said something like, I'd rather have a name like Don Gervais. And the headline was, Ricky wants to join the mafia. Which I think is a bit harsh. I've been invited to the palace a couple of times. I think about...
Whoa, hang on, what do you mean?
I've been invited to the palace about 3 times.
Why? Can I just point out for people who don't know who I am, I collaborate with Ricky on everything except his stand-up comedy, which I suspect was not the reason you were getting invited to the palace.
No.
It's a little bit bawdy, a little bit blue.
For my work on Flanimals.
Yeah, for your children.
Please get him along. I love the mung unga. I love that mung
So I should just point out that I've co-written both The Office and Extras, and yeah, I've never had an invite from the palace.
Yeah, but I think the Queen knows who's the main one, who's the driving force. You know. Anyway, right, so I get this thing through. The first time, I thought, I can't go out.
Why couldn't you go?
Well, I don't know. The second time I came through, and I said to Jane, it was like 6 o'clock, right? And I said, oh, should we go? And it was very exciting, but I felt a bit funny just going along to the palace, right? And I said,
sorry, who was it? Could just be you and Jane and Prince Philip and the Queen? Was it that?
Well, no, there was about, I don't know, I think it was about 8. There's about 8 people, right?
You needed some extra people for Pictionary.
Me, the usual. Me, Salman Rushdie.
Yeah.
David Bowie.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. Oh, yeah, you're aligning yourself in the company of geniuses, I noticed there.
No. I'll tell you something about Salman Rushdie later. And I said to Jan, I said, we go for an hour. She went, it's not the sort of place you can turn up for an hour with some leaf round milk.
It's not your boss's barbecue at the weekend.
Pop in. I've got some other people to see. I'm seeing Tony Blair later. Anyway, cheers, Liz. But anyway, the thing that came through was, I will be attending, stroke not be attending, right? And I thought that was just too harsh to send back, I will not be attending.
Yeah.
So there was a number at the Marshal's house, and I called him up and he went, hello? And I said, hello, it's Ricky Gervais here. I got an invite to the palace. I won't be able to attend. I said, I thought it was a little bit harsh just to send back, I will not be attending. He said, how delightfully polite of you to call.
Was it Roger Moore?
I don't know, but I went, that's no, he said, oh, there's no trouble. Thank you so much for calling. I bet no one calls him.
Yeah.
I bet he doesn't get a look in. And it was really, I'm so glad I called and didn't just send back, I will not be attending. But listen, keep inviting me, because, I mean, if it's right for my diary, I'd love to come along and have a mooch around.
Yeah, just see what's going on up there.
Yeah, so, Salman Rushdie, right? This is a nice story. So, I've met him a few times now. Now he's out and about.
Sure.
He's never home.
No.
I bet his house is a mess.
Yeah.
Right. It was just after the first, series of The Office went out. I got invited to this, thing, I'd met Jonathan, actually. I'd met Jonathan Ross on this show, and we were talking about being Bowie fans. I'd never met him before, and he said, well, I'm interviewing Bowie for this special, come along. And I went along, and there was Bowie, my hero, was amazing. A couple of big celebrities in the audience, one of which was Salman Rushdie. And Greg Dyke, who was head of the BBC then, said to me, he said, I'm a Bowie fan, do you want to go and meet him? And I went, okay, right? So we went down, so it's me, Greg Dyke, right, and Salman Rushdie going on chat to Bowie. I went to the pub the next day with my mate, and he said, what did you do last night? And I said, nothing. Because I couldn't say, I was hanging out with David Bowie, Greg Dyke and Salman Rushdie. Why? What did you do? And I just said, nothing.
If you can name every celebrity that Ricky has mentioned in the last league, who he spent time with, then you can win yourself a prize. Perhaps a signed copy of Extras, for which he got invited to the palace, and I didn't. 88-291. If you can name every name that Ricky Gervais dropped, that's gone to
be the day that they're gonna give it back to you.
Rick, as you know, I absolutely love a good cover version. I think that cover version, if it's done really well, can not only match the original, it can sometimes even better it.
I totally agree.
And I think that that's Ryan Adams' version of Wonderwall. And I think, you know, much as I love Wonderwall, it almost reinvests it with a new beauty and a new majesty that perhaps we'd forgotten about because the other song is so well played.
Taking it away from Noel.
Oh, not at all.
But
it's almost kind of reinvented it.
It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Great song anyway, isn't it?
That's what's weird, really, because you've done that, and that's kind of what I've done with Rockbusters. Right, I've taken something.
Well, you've taken Blockbusters and changed one word.
Sort of made it better.
No, not really, because those are real clues that work. Yours are the ramblings of a madman. He doesn't really understand what the word cryptic means.
A little bit stronger.
It's more, this should be called What Am I Thinking?
Well,
what am I thinking?
We should just introduce the idea of Rockbusters to people who didn't hear it last week. Now, I'm trying to think of some classic ones. Do you remember there was now what was it? The
Jamaican fella spinning a fish round his head. That was de trout spinners. And he tried to make it sound. I mean, it doesn't work.
You have to speak in a Jamaican accent and say the trout spinners.
Well, they wouldn't say trout. They'd say Detroit.
Trout spinners.
So it doesn't work there. So that's the stupid Wetney Houston.
Yeah.
No one called Wetney Houston.
Yeah.
So
you need to basically call inside Karl's head and figure out what's going on in there if you want to win these. We've got some Kylie collectibles for Rockbusters.
The good thing about crawling into Karl's head is there is a lot of room.
There's plenty of room.
It's
very much like when God created the Earth. You can just fill it up with anything.
That's what Karl said.
So your Rockbusters clues this week then, Karl.
Alright, so as always, you know, we did it last week.
What can you win though?
The Kylie collectibles, just
brilliant.
Excellent.
Should we throw in some stuff of ours? Just to
if you've got any tag,
we get them for free. Yeah, extras, Flanimals, etc.
Got some other junk liner in the office.
Yeah.
Right. So then, 3 clues. You text in with the answers. You win the stuff. Right. First clue. The initials of the band or the artist are FF.
FF. Okay.
FF.
And the
sort of I know it already.
Well, not ruin it. And the cryptic clue, I've got snails, croissants, and baguettes in the palm.
Franz Ferdinand.
Right,
Franz.
What's going on there?
I don't know.
Franz.
Right, there's the clue.
Say that again.
I've got snails, croissants, and baguettes in my palm.
Baguettes, France. Yeah.
FF. Right, FF. What's the band or the artist?
The clue changes ever so slightly every time.
I know.
Right, the next one. My gran is taking a penalty. she better get the ball in the back of the net. NM. Artist or a band. NM. That's an old artist, by the way.
Give it to us again.
NM. Me granny's taking a penalty.
I've got it.
She better get it in the back of the net.
It's a good one.
Okay.
It's a good one.
All right.
That might be his best ever.
Wow.
There you go, right?
Oh, okay.
And the last one, this is a tough one, but, you know how it works.
When he says tough, he means doesn't work.
Does
not work. Repeat, this does not work. Go on.
The initial of the band, it's an 80s band, I think I've got to help them out. A is the initial, right? And the clue is, and where people go to relieve themselves after looking at elephants and that. What am I? Right? So, letters A, the cryptic clue, and where people go to relieve themselves after looking at elephants and that. What am I?
80s band.
And the initial?
A.
882921.
That works.
You can give us a call 0500 288
I'm getting worried now because I'm getting all these.
That's really scary. Gervais at bbc.co.uk if you've got an answer for, or you need all three of those to win those Kylie collectibles.
It's alright, isn't it?
Yeah, well done.
Play a little cheeky song.
Yeah.
Razorlight. Golden Touch. On Radio 2. I'm Ricky Gervais, with me Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington.
We were going to have a quick assessment of the year's events, because it's been a tumultuous year in many ways, Rick. You know, some steps forward. I'm sure you'll agree with the ban on fox hunting.
Absolutely. I really can't believe it took to 2005. And then people moaning, we can't go and hunt fox. Oh, why not? You can't go and have a fox ripped to pieces. Oh, what do you want to do instead?
I never understood it, because it was people getting up in arms, and it's a sport for them. It's a game, so it's like you can't play Yahtzee anymore. You've got to play Guess Who. Well, all right.
And all this rubbish about, oh, well, you know, it's what foxes do. Oh, is it? Oh, but why do you like it? You wouldn't want a robot fox, because you want to see blood. My brother-in-law was doing this job, he's a driver, and he went to this, like, really posh school, and he was talking to someone there, they're into fox hunting and stuff, and he said, I don't agree with, just chatting to us, I don't agree with fox hunting. They went, oh, why, are you a vegetarian? He went, no, I eat meat. They went, you eat meat, but you don't agree with hunting? He went, why, do you eat fox?
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a ridiculous argument.
Are you pleased with that ban, Karl?
What sort of? I don't think, you know, we should sort of any animal, should we?
I totally agree.
And
yeah.
sort of, you know, respect their place and that. I mean, I went on holiday once, right? Went into the sea, right? Was only up to my knees, right? Got stung by a jellyfish, right? Sure. And what I mean is, like, you know, the sea. That's someone else's territory, innit?
Right.
And I could have had a moan.
But you
I was like, well, I shouldn't be here.
Whereas if you went home and you were watching telly and a jellyfish came at you...
I'd say what's going on.
You would, wouldn't you? You would say what's going on, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You definitely would. If a jellyfish came out from behind your telly and clamped onto your face, you'd go, Suzanne, what's going on? What's a jellyfish doing? I don't go into the sea. But it's like when they, that bloke that climbed into a polar bear cage and got eaten, and there was a thing about have the polar bear put down. No, don't have the polar bear put down. You took him from the ice caps, popped him in a zoo, right? That's his house now. He didn't want to be there.
Yeah,
right? And then someone climbed in. I love it when a matador gets gored to death. I love it, because the bull didn't want to fight.
Happy New Year. But also this year, of course, we've had the gay civil marriages, or the civil ceremonies. I'm not entirely sure yet what this is. Do we loosely call it gay marriage just for the sake of ease?
No, well, it's just it's officially a civil marriage, isn't it? They're not saying it's a marriage as such, because I don't know if the church acknowledge it or not. I'm not sure. We got enough vicars listening.
They can let us know.
Let us know. Yeah.
But I don't know if you read it. I read it in the paper the other day.
But the church is going to look nice, isn't it? The flowers are going to look brilliant,
really good,
aren't they?
But I don't know if you read the other day that I was pleased to read that John Inman, Mr. Humphreys from Are You Being Served, has just been involved in his civil ceremony with his long-term partner.
Whoa. John Inman's gay.
Yeah, no, I know. It's stunning, isn't it?
I know, unbelievable. I do like it when one of those sort of people that are so obviously gay, they come out after like years, like Elton John comes out and goes, actually, I've got some news. Sit down. Mate, just sit down, I've got some news for you. Oh, hello, Alan. Like your new pink tracksuit, by the way. That's what I want to talk to you about. I'm actually gay. And they all have to go, you're joking.
Yeah, they got to fake it.
No way.
Like when someone knows there's a surprise party for them, they got to pretend that they... Oh my god, I can't believe it. But,
yeah, so what we've had, it is a year of disasters, which is, it does seem worse this year. I don't know, maybe I'm hitting that age where I think there was, like, it was nicer before, but it was a year of disasters,
It's been terrible. Well, we've had obviously Hurricane Katrina and the tsunami and the earthquake and things, and and it's obviously been terrible, and we don't want you to be flippant about that, but the only time I was praying for a natural disaster of biblical proportions was when I was watching Celebrity Love Island. and it never happened, sadly. And some of the dregs of humanity on that show, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but Paul Danan is a joy, because he's a mental case, and I'd say that, I don't know if that's libelous, but, I mean, if anyone's seen the show...
What did you say?
I said he was a mental case.
Yeah, it's pretty libelous. I think he could sue you there.
Okay, well, I'll take that back. But,
Take that back. He's not a mental case.
But he is, I think...
I mean, let's face it. Before you say anyone is stupid or a mental case, do the old binary sort. Are they madder and thicker than Karl? If not, I think you know.
That means I can never accuse anyone of being stupid. But I love it. He was talking about Lady Isabella Harvey, and he went, "I love Lady Isabella Harvey because thing is, like, she don't like books, and I don't like books.
Brilliant. They got something in common. Then.
The idea that something in common is something that they don't do together.
I love the idea that people like us would sit around just praying for a big wind.
Just a big wind.
And the only big wind was from Rebecca Lewis.
Oh, jeez.
In the Ghetto.
Elvis.
By Elvis. That's one of the 10 songs that Karl likes.
Yes.
I mean, I've never met anyone who is, I don't know, so underwhelmed by music and the plethora of
No, I
tunes.
do like it.
But it was saying about when I first got my iPod, which I absolutely love, okay, and I was downloading, I said it's got 10,000 songs. He went, "What do you need that many for?" He said, "I like a Walkman." He said, "You know, you're going for a walk, listen to that." He said, "How long's the walk? When do you need 10,000 records?" And he was trying to work with the ones he put on, and he got to about 7. And what do you like? You only like songs with a story.
Mainly, a song that, you know, when you pop it on, you go, right, I'm gonna listen to this for however long it is, and you've got to check it all out. You can't just turn it off and fade it off, because you've got to hear how the story ends.
But how many times can you hear the same story? I mean, it's a great tune, but it's not because it's a story, it's because the lyrical content, apart from the story aspect, and the beautiful tune, and the way he sings, and the production.
No, it's not about
that. Otherwise you want to go, bloke, he born on the wrong side of the tracks, tries to nick a car, gets shot. I mean, that's...
Yeah, but think about what you've just said, and what I'm saying is, if you get up to, he was born on the wrong side of the tracks or whatever, I'll turn it off now, you'd be going, I wonder what happened to him.
But you already listened to it.
You listen to it all.
What other songs are there, songs with the story?
There's one, Johnny Cash, when he's nicking a car from a factory.
What happens there? I don't remember that song.
He works in a car factory, and every day he's going, right, I'll nick a little bolt, right? Then he nicks a wing mirror, and I think he nicks like a gear stick and that.
Yeah.
So if you've got 7 songs that you like, I mean, it must be, what's your favourite song of all
But how
time?
could you do that? Because you haven't heard how that ended now, you see. I've just told you there what he was doing.
Because you've probably got it wrong.
I haven't, and then what happens at the
I
end?
assume everything you say is probably wrong.
There you go, then you'll never know, and that will annoy you now. So, other songs I like, Rod Stewart, Killing a Georgie.
Oh yeah, that's your favourite song, isn't it?
That's good.
Because it's, yeah.
What's the story there?
Just about a little gay fella goes to New York, because that's, like, I think it was in the 70s when, like, you know, if you were gay and that, New York was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was like, you know, where they all went and stuff. Had a good life there. His dad didn't, I think his dad kicked him out or something.
No, I'm sure you're thinking of, Small Town Boy by Bronski Beat. I'm sure you're getting all these mixed up just because it's another little gay fella, as you call him.
Anyway, he goes to New York.
He goes to New York.
He's having a wedding time.
Yeah, having a good time in the 70s.
Oh, you're right. His dad said, "How can a son of mine not be straight?" I take it all back. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And he goes to New York and that. They go out late, don't they? They have like late nights.
What do you mean?
No, I just mean, you know, gays like to party and that. They know how to live. You know what I mean? They get the most out of life and that. Partying late. He was on his way home.
I'm sorry. That's such a general.
Everyone goes out late and parties.
What do you mean they like to go out late?
No, it's just if you go in Soho in London, right, at like 5 in the morning, you think it was like rush hour.
But you assume anyone who takes a bit of pride in their appearance is gay.
Well, I mean, no, you can look after yourself and that without being a little gay fella, but I'm just saying that's what that song's about.
Can I just say, anyone's offended by this, he means no harm, he doesn't know, he knows not what he says, really. Everything from Karl is totally genuine, he's not having a go, you live and let live, don't you?
He's a bit like Mork from Mork and Mindy.
He hasn't got a prejudicial bone in his body, but go on then.
Yeah, so, and then because he was out late, he was walking back and sort of, it's a bit of a sad ending, he gets attacked and that, but it's a good song if you want a song with a story. Rod Stewart, Killing a Georgie.
Brilliant.
Right.
Is, well, I'm thinking maybe we should get people to just text in, just a few people, if they've got any songs they can recommend to Karl. We maybe getting played to him.
Pinball Wizard.
Pinball Wizard, you love.
That was a good one. That's about blind fella.
Right.
Deaf, dumb, and blind kid.
Oh yeah, deaf, dumb, and blind, right? But he loves pinball. I don't know if he knows what he's playing. No, it's just that he's a pinball wizard, but you know, if he's deaf, dumb, and blind, does he know what game he's playing?
Sure.
Does he even bother putting money in it?
Yeah.
Well, no, forget it. If you
Hungry Heart from the Boss on Radio 2, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington, and of course Ricky Gervais.
We don't mean the boss on Radio 2, we don't mean Leslie Douglas. that was Bruce Springsteen.
I don't think anyone was making that confusion.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Just you.
Just in case, okay.
We were doing, about 20 minutes ago, Rockbusters, special New Year's Rockbusters. 3 clues, 3 bands or artists. We've had a number of responses. It really worries me when people get this right.
Well, I was worried that I got it right.
Well, I don't know what it says about our audience. It's like, why are we bothering? We may as well just shoot off. They'll be happy just watching the tumble dryer going round.
I know. Well, Karl, come on then. What are the clues again? Here we go.
right, and so there's 3 clues. First one, the initials were FF, right? And that was if I've got snails and croissants and baguettes in my palm, right? That's like the clue. What band or artist is that? Think about it, right?
Go on in.
The initials were FF. That's Franz Ferdinand, right? So like
Whoa!
Franz Ferdinand. It's kind
Franz Ferdinand.
France, because it's like that's
France,
what they eat over there.
Should be French, really. You can't say France food, can you?
So France.
French food in hand.
French food in
I've
hand.
never heard of a band called French Food in Hand.
Well, a lot of people got it as well.
I know,
on the
but
text,
French Food in Hand. What are they? What label are they on? What label are they on?
It's just French food in hand. So you got that, right?
French Food in Hand, yeah.
Second one was my granny's taking a penalty, right? She better get the ball in the back of the net.
Go on.
NM with the initials.
Yeah.
Try and work it out. Your gran, that's your nan. Ball in the back of the net. That's Nana must score it, right? Nana must score it, right?
Nana Muscori. Okay, I'll give you that one.
And who is it? Nana
Muscori. Nana Muscori.
Yeah, so
Nana Muscori.
right, so that works. And then
No, it doesn't work.
Then
But
the
it's
final-
close enough. It's close enough.
the final one was the initial was A, right? And the clue was and where people go to relieve themselves after looking at elephants and giraffes and all that sort of stuff. What am I? Right? That's a I'm a Zulu.
I'm a Zulu. No, I got it.
I'm a Zulu.
I'm a Zulu.
So that works as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, no.
3 good clues as always there.
Well, not really. Couldn't really call them cryptic, but
Well, I'll give it to David Lyons of Aylesbury,
first one in.
Buckinghamshire, Franz
He got 'em
Ferdinand,
all.
Nana Muscuri, and Amazulu. Well done, David.
he gets the Kylie collectibles, which is a what is it?
some Kylie collectibles.
Live signed
There's
stuff.
some signed
and
stuff on there. Some more. I hope he's a Kylie fan.
We're throwing a signed extra DVD and some flammable stuff as well.
And on Monday, get straight down some kind of clinic. Have your brain examined.
Right, better Kate Bush.
Kate Bush, King of the Mountain. Must be a song about the Tour de France or something.
Yep.
Wear a helmet. Wear a helmet.
Good advice. Now, as you mentioned earlier, Rick, last week we had a spokesperson from the Church of England who was offering a spot at some kind of Manchester church for Karl to do a sermon, educate the kids on the Bible and all things religious. We've preempted that. We're first instalment in the first hour, and it was very slow.
You've got to be quicker. If this is a Brit, I mean, that was nearly longer than the real thing. I mean, you
turning
made
people off
yeah.
religion.
I mean, God only took 6 days. Do you know what I mean? And you were pushing that.
But this is what
And he made it. You were just talking about it.
this is what Vicars do, isn't it? They drag it out. This is their living. If
They don't
rushed
drag it out.
They don't do
What do you
that,
mean?
no.
When you go to church,
What do you mean if they did? If they rushed it, what?
well, they wouldn't have a job, would they? So you've got to make sure you do everything that needs to be
You
told
reckon they're
and that.
milking it, do you?
Well, just a little bit. I mean, you said that, not my words. But yeah, that's why I can't, rush it. You've got to tell the story, haven't you?
Oh, well, you need to get the Old Testament out of the way, because we're not even on to the New Testament yet.
No.
We've got an hour and 10
Well, I'll
left.
just do it right.
Jesus hasn't even made an appearance, and he's like the star, isn't he?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, we're all waiting for him to make it.
Yeah, he's like Brad Pitt coming in.
And I'll tell you, this at the moment it's a bit like the film King Kong I went to see. 3 hours long. It's 50 minutes before Kong makes an appearance.
Well, exactly. Let's get to the main event. Come
get
on.
JC on there.
I can't now. Anyway, just where we left off, just in case you just.
Could I just
tuned
say
in.
this is
Don't recap.
I'm just saying that Jesus is the main event because it's the Church of England. There are other religions where he's probably not as high up.
He's not was featured as
It's
prominently.
not. No, he'd be third on the fourth on the billing.
No,
right, go on.
all I'm saying is we left it where Adam and Eve had kids, they were arguing a lot, the kids didn't listen to the
Well,
mum
they
and
weren't
dad.
arguing a lot.
They did, they had a bit of an
The
argument.
kids did, yeah, but Adam and Eve didn't argue, did they? They were loving it. They were having a great time.
Well, no, not once he ate the apple.
I'm an atheist, and I'm trying to help him out.
Can we get on with it? Because we're just recapping what we already got bored over
Yes,
here.
come on! Get on with it!
I'm just saying.
Oh.
So the kids didn't listen to the mum and dad because they had a criminal record and that for nicking the apple.
A
The kids were
criminal
running
record?
riot, they're not bothered. So, let's pick up.
I'd like to apologise there. I've just got to say, it really isn't worth complaining. He doesn't know what he'd get off. In a court of law, he'd get off. He's got, I don't know,
Insanity.
he wouldn't be culpable for his own actions.
Come on,
'cause he's an
even
idiot.
I'm getting bored of this now.
Okay.
Right, so, God, you got to a point where he's going, it's all going wrong, right? People are doing what they want, Adam and Eve aren't listening, all the rest of it.
No, he gave them free will.
I've got to
so
do
the story
something.
goes,
Please,
oh,
Rick.
this is making me ill.
So, anyway, right, so he said, how can I get rid of all the badness and that? So, he made it rain, right? It rained for ages, people got sick of the rain and that, right? Cleaned it all out, right? Before he did that, though, I forgot something that's quite important. He met up with this bloke, Noah,
Met up over a coffee.
right? And he said to Noah, look,
Get an umbrella.
I like you and that, here's a little job for you.
All I'll say is buy shares in galoshes. We're
No, I don't want to give anything away, but you get a boat.
Yeah.
And get a big boat.
He said, what I want you to do, right, make this boat up. He said, and when you've done that, go about, right, and get 2 of everything. Right? So,
Man
it's
and
like,
female.
that's a big job, isn't it? Right?
Man and female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you know, because I always say I always put myself in the situation of the person's job and that.
Yeah.
I was thinking I can sort of sort out a man elephant, man woman and that. I wouldn't know how to do it with a spider. What?
I don't know why he brought on spiders. I do not know why Noah brought on spiders, because he missed an opportunity there. Get rid of all things like that. Get rid of the spider, and you know, get 4, you know, flamingos or something. Or get 8 chimps. Let's use the space wisely.
But the weird thing is, right, with the spiders as well, because he did get the spiders on, didn't he? It rained, right? It rained for ages, like, what was it, weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Raining that. So, and then he let out a bird, I think it was a raven.
No, it wasn't.
Right, come on, let him finish.
No,
It wasn't a raven.
This is finish.
This is a
Okay.
fact. He let a raven out, right, and he didn't come back. So already his system had broken, because he
Oh,
only
I
had,
think.
he
Oh,
only
okay.
had 1 raven left then, right? So he was like, oh. So, he said, right, he left it a couple of days, he sent a dove out.
Oh, that's it. That's what I know. You've been more than me. I'll say.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well,
Is that what you did? You let a
yeah.
raven out firstly?
First, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Never
the
trust a raven. Always give it to the dove.
dove came.
Don't send a raven to do a dove's
I
job.
reckon the Raven found another arc, an unofficial arc. There was just like a party arc.
No, look, come on.
No,
Come on.
right. So the dove came back.
Yeah.
So he said, right, there must be dry land somewhere.
Okay.
Right? So anyway, he was like, let's just hang about.
Why do you think that?
Because it found a twig or something.
Exactly. Say what you. Why couldn't that be the top of a tree though? Why could it? How did he know that?
Don't
Rick,
know.
if you are going to add to this, we're never going to get it done.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Right, so there was mud everywhere because the water went down. Mud everywhere. and
Where
that.
did the water go?
Shut up! Why just
Where did it go?
Shut up! We haven't got time to go into
It doesn't
that.
make sense. If the whole world was flooded, where did the water
We have
go?
not got time for
Yes,
this.
Where did the
shut up,
water go?
Ricky.
This is
It's-
mental.
It's not
Did they
making
refreeze the ice
Rick.
caps? What? Tell me. Is it?
Let it
You've
go.
got to be
Didn't
specific.
say it was a kid's Bible, wasn't it? It wasn't going in depth. It just said the water went away. Right?
Where?
It floated off. Oh, I can't be bothered.
He's not going to finish? He's not gonna
ELO.
finish.
We've had an email here. It says, stop rambling and get on with it. How about some ELO? Well, there it is. And he asked us to dedicate it to his wife, Fiona McCallum, and that's love from Penji or Pengi or Pengu or something.
He's got to realise that if we didn't ramble, we wouldn't have a show.
This is it.
This is what we do. When you've got Karl opposite you, there's nothing out. It can't be done.
Put on a CD if you don't want to hear the rambling. These people who email into a radio station go, play some ELO. Well, put a CD on. You must
Yeah.
have the greatest hits of ELO. If you want to hear it so much, why are you phoning up a radio
Well, I
station?
think it's more the dedication. You know, he just wants to tell his
Yeah,
wife.
but, you know,
You know, so
do it on a
it's-
better show.
what than this.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
gotta be any. In the second hour, we've got more stuff to get. Third hour, my goodness me, we've already got through the second hour. We've got more stuff to give away. We got what else? We got monkey news.
Oh,
Look forward to
monkey
that.
news. That's what the nation's waiting for.
But plus, Karl, we got more of your biblical retelling.
Oh, he's going to finish it?
French food, you know.
That's excruciating.
On 88 to 91 FM. This is Radio 2 from the BBC. Californication by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now we've got some Red Hot Chili Pepper stuff to give away as well.
We've got a Red Hot Chili Peppers platinum disc.
Brilliant. Only platinum on this show.
Yeah.
None of your gold muck.
Absolutely. We need some kind of quiz question, because we want to make sure that only a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan gets this merchandise off.
Okay, what about something like, famously they were, photographed with a sock over their what?
Anyone can get that.
That's too easy, isn't it?
That's too easy.
Notice I was all coy, I didn't want to say that. Why didn't I just say... Oh no, because I was asking the question.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I? Yeah. What would people phone in, do you think? They'd have to say, oh, that's no good. It was there. We know what it was over there. What would I say? On Radio 2?
John Thomas?
John Thomas, over there. They think that's probably a member of the band.
Yeah.
What do you say when you go to the doctor with your trouble? Look, okay, I know what we're talking about. We're talking about a man's parts downstairs. That's what they popped us
Well, if
off
I went to
on.
the doctor, I'd be honest. I'd just say, excuse me, doctor, I've got a problem with my penis.
Wouldn't that make you laugh, saying that? Even to a doctor, even though it's an official term, wouldn't you be...
Well...
It's funny, isn't it, going to saying... Because you never use that term,
No,
do
it's
you?
because it's formal, I suppose.
It's like you're trying to sort of like put on airs and graces because
Yeah.
you're in the company of a doctor. What would you say?
What, if I had a problem?
Yeah.
I had to go to the doctor.
With your...
I probably wouldn't go.
What do you mean?
I'd show it to Suzanne and say, is that normal? No, I haven't. I mean, I'm 32,
Why
right?
should
I've
she
never.
know necessarily?
No, just you know, they.
She's
sort
not
of-
a doctor, and there's nothing about you that's normal. So I can only imagine...
No, but you know what I'm like. I have, you know, Suzanne, my girlfriend, wants me to go to that well-man clinic. I've said, oh, no way.
Oh, yeah,
Unless I'm really ill.
Well, you
Right.
should. You should get everything checked out.
I know,
The
but
finger up the...
I know.
So
I
what's
don't
your?
check.
So what's the quiz question?
What's the funniest term for it? No. What do women call it when they go? Because that's even worse, isn't it? I don't know. What does your mum call her...
She's never sort of brought it up with me. What do you mean, what does she call it? And even when I was a kid, she didn't give it a name. It's just, even now.
What did she call yours then when if you had, mummy, I got a...
She didn't.
What, you never discussed?
Why,
If you had a pain?
No, just get on with it and that.
What did you say for if you wanted to go to the toilet when you were little?
I'll just say, oh, I'm just nipping to the toilet.
No, when you were 3, you didn't say, alright, mum, I'm just nipping to the toilet, get me fags ready when I come out, I could do it, I'm dying for it.
I never give it a name.
What do you mean? You never said, so how did you let your mum know I wanted to go to the toilet?
I think, well, we hadn't moved, we lived in the same house for ages, so I knew where the toilet was and stuff, and I just let
Not when you were 2.
Well, I honestly, I can't remember then, if I did have a name.
Spend a penny?
What do you say now?
Well, I don't have to announce it, I know where the toilet is. I don't understand the question.
I don't know, what's the quick question? Oh, this is difficult, isn't it? We haven't planned this show.
We'll play a record. We'll
Someone's
think of a quiz
accusing
question.
this show of being pre-recorded. Someone said, oh, is this pre-recorded? If we pre-recorded it, we'd have edited out the bad bits, wouldn't we?
Why would we have had that conversation?
It's like, oh, it's 10 past 12. Let's do headlines. I remember Karl trying to prove it was live last week, and he was saying things like, it's Christmas Eve.
Well, weirdly, actually, there's a couple of mentions of you. I always like to check where you're mentioned in the papers, Rick.
Right.
The Daily Mirror mentions you in their surveillance section. I don't know if you noticed this. This is where they kind of, like, for instance, Kiefer Sutherland was spotted having a pint of Guinness in Dublin.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, apparently. And it says here, Ricky Gervais and others were seen at Jon Stewart's show at Prince Edward Theatre. So, wasn't that like 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks
And
ago?
I was on stage. That's why I was spotted. I was working.
But that
I went
man
on
should be
stage with him.
Spotted at Reading Comprehensive in 1973, Ricky Gervais. We've just had the news.
Also, my favourite one in Spotted, they have it in the heat and stuff, and my favourite was Spotted on the set of his new movie, Johnny Depp. I mean, he's pretty much going to be there.
That doesn't count, surely.
That's the same as train spotting. Oh, I saw the 2:30 from Crew. Where was it? Crew. What time was it? 2:30. There's a surprise.
Well, I was also looking through The Sun, and you can, again, if you want to prove that we're live, you can check this out in today's copy of The Sun. Flipping through, and there's a picture of you, Rick, and it says at the top, comics, they're as funny as cancer. I thought that's a bit harsh. And I mean, most people agree, and it turns out they don't mean that you're as hellish as that. It means that actually, you're apparently star sign Cancer. Is that true?
That's right, yeah.
Well, apparently, so is Jennifer Saunders and Peter Kay, Mira Sayal, and apparently that's the funniest of all the star signs.
Well, I wouldn't disagree with that. I would disagree with it, because whenever anyone says to me they're reading their stars and say, what star sign are you? I give them a wrong one. They read it, they go, that's just you. I go, I'm not that.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, can I say twaddle? We've said penis, to hell with it, twaddle. It's twaddle. Black Star by Radiohead on BBC Radio 2 with me, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington. I forgot to
set the quiz question.
I know, well I forgot.
How are you, can you even call yourself a DJ?
I don't!
What? Well, no, clearly. I mean, they're probably...
I'm a broadcaster.
We've got this Red Hot Chili Peppers platinum disc to give away.
Well, what about that one? What do you call your little...
That's your quiz question. On Radio 2, on New Year's Eve, your question is, what do you call your thing?
If you're a man, what do you call your little dinkle? If you're a lady, what do you call your... thingy front?
That's unbelievable.
Well, I don't know, do I? It's as arbitrary as anything. So that people and other funny names, nothing nasty, and we'll read them out. Remember, we won't read it out if it's nasty. But what's the you know what did you call your little what's your little name?
Unbelievable.
What?
I mean, it's BBC Radio 2.
So have you seen the dregs they put on these shows? I mean, people who couldn't get a job anywhere else.
What are you talking about? It's top caliber broadcasters on this station.
Who?
I can't name off the top of my head. It's people who they don't want on Radio 1 anymore.
That's true, isn't it?
Alright, well, 88 291, 0500 288 291, or you can email gervais@bbc.co.uk. And, well, you I'm not even mentioning I'm not selling my mouth.
What do you call your little ding-dong, your little willy wanky woo? What do you call it?
Unbelievable.
Well, but there's some... we learned something.
And yeah. And we'll give away this platinum disc to whoever's got the most droll, the most amusing, the most charming.
After what do you call yours? Another Bible reading.
One of my songs of the year. It's Emily
Part 3,
by Stephen
hopefully
Fret.
the
I really
final
enjoyed that one.
part.
Beautiful.
Jeez.
We are looking back at some of the big news stories of the year. Still to come, of course. I should just point out we've got monkey news.
Oh, that's the big one.
We've got the final part. It certainly is. We've got the final part of Karl's sermon, and we haven't even got to Jesus Christ yet. So you know it's going to be dynamite when that guy makes an appearance.
Yeah.
So we're all looking forward to that.
He better, because if he doesn't, you've missed out on quite a big thing in the Bible. Well, anyway, go on.
Plus, of course, you've just set this possibly the worst quiz question I've ever heard on any radio station ever.
That's nice.
Well,
Do you want to recap?
What do you call your little...
Your little fellow or your little
Willy
man?
Wonkaloo.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
And you can win the
Being
platinum disc.
rewarded for that.
Yeah.
Being rewarded with sharing with the nation what you call your little thingy.
Red Hot Chili Peppers platinum disc to give away. Karl, what have been some of the big news stories that have hit you this year?
Oh, this is going to be good.
Well, I don't really watch the news, do I? It gets me down a bit.
Sure.
Sometimes, you know, you're better off not knowing. I sometimes wonder about, you know, the way we've got satellites and stuff, and you know what's going on the other side of the world. Should we know? Do you know what I mean? Does it do us any good?
Right.
Knowing stuff.
Afraid of
So, I mean,
knowledge, this
you
guy.
That is brilliant coming from Karl.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing quote, isn't it? I mean, it's not "we will fight them on the beaches," but does it do you any good knowing stuff? It's pretty much what sums you up. I thought your New Year's resolution was to learn one thing a day.
All I'm saying is, normally when you see people who are brainy, they never look like they're that happy.
Like who?
Einstein, Hawking. They all look a bit like fed up and that. They've got loads of knowledge.
Let's leave Hawking aside, the way he looks, please.
Look at
You're
Einstein.
such an idiot, Karl. You're such an idiot.
Look at Einstein then.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Then look at me. I'm happy.
You're not happy.
Right.
No.
You have no reason to be, though.
Anyway,
And
so
Einstein was happy.
He's not happy.
He was
at all,
gallivanting around, he was having a laugh, he was going to parties, he was hanging out with Marilyn Monroe, he was loving it, he was inventing nuclear weapons, he was having a whale of a
Party
time.
time.
anyway, all I'm saying.
He was, you know, hanging out with, what's his name, McFly?
Right.
It was brilliant.
So normally I just pick up on the stories that sort of make me go, oh, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Two that stuck out for me in 2005.
Okay.
Blind people, not always using dogs now. They've got horses.
Well, that's ridiculous,
What are
that's
you
not
talking
true.
What are you talking about?
It is true.
What
Why
do
they
you
can do that in
mean?
the city?
They're trying it out. People, you know, they've got guide dogs and that.
Yes.
They sort of saying, why stop there? They're giving.
Well, do you know why?
You can't get a horse in a library.
Exactly.
What?
Because dogs can go into Tesco's with you, and go round to visit your auntie, and sit at your feet. What do you do with a horse?
No, well, it just cuts out the middleman. That if the horse knows where it's going, person gets on the back. Off it goes.
Oh, don't talk rubbish.
Where
True
did you read
story.
this?
Where do you read this?
I've got it printed off. I can show it to you.
Oh,
It's
so
in
it's
your
the
bag.
internet. Of course it was the internet. Yeah. I mean, when will you learn?
But why is that such a mad idea?
Because you haven't got the whole idea. I bet it is something. I bet there's a grain of truth to it, right? But there's no way that they're going to be used like guide dogs. I mean, just think.
I'll look at the news story during the next song and we'll get to the
What
bottom
else?
of it.
What else? Well, there must be another news story that's got that.
Yeah, there's another one.
Go on.
Chickens and that.
Go on.
A fella had a problem with a chicken, wasn't laying enough eggs and that. He got an axe, put it next to its little house
That's
that he was
the
living in,
animated version.
panicked it a bit, laid loads of eggs.
No.
I don't
No,
know.
I
Is
didn't
that a
thought.
major news story?
No, it's not major, but it's interesting, isn't it?
What?
Well,
Frightening a chicken into laying an egg.
Yeah. No,
So-
they're sort of the two things that...
That's the only two news stories
That's
of the year that have
amazing.
caught your attention.
I mean, that's plus monkey news. Obviously, every week you
Oh,
keep up to date with monkey news.
but what do you think about when you hear about that chicken? What
I don't think anything of it because it came from you, so you probably got something wrong. Or it was a little fluff piece in a tabloid that just someone, they had a slow news day that day. You know, there
Now,
was.
Rick, am I right in saying that Karl himself made the news this year? Because wasn't it right that a friend of your girlfriend's had read about him? Apparently, you were slagging off Cornwall somewhere.
Yeah, my girlfriend's used to live in Cornwall, and you were the front sort of story on something like the Western something or other edition, slagging off Cornwall.
What are you on about?
What have you been up to?
What have you said? What have you said about Cornwall?
I haven't said anything. I like Cornwall.
Yeah, but you must have said something, or they wouldn't have a. They mentioned Karl Pilkington.
You've been slagging off, apparently.
I love Cornwall. I love going there.
What have you ever said anything about it negatively?
What was that thing? Oh, didn't you slag someone off at Mevagissey? You went into a pub in Mevagissey.
Yeah, and he was airy. That's that one fella. There was a sort of. I went in there, and they're really friendly and everything in Cornwall.
Yeah.
If you're listening, like
Don't creep.
No, but I like it. If I wanted to retire and that early, that's where I'd go and live.
I wouldn't now.
But I went there, right, in this little place called Mevagissey, and went into a pub, and the woman behind the bar was all friendly and going, it was around Christmas time, and she said, oh, what we normally do is, like, have a fancy dress and stuff. She said, yeah, I'll show you some pictures, right? And she was going through, and there was a picture of someone there, and I said, God, what's he come as? Look at him, he's well airy. And she said, oh, he just works behind the bar, he wasn't dressed as anything. And he came out round the corner, airy fella. But there's no way that made the paper.
Have you said anything else negative about it?
When was the last time you were in Cornwall?
It was... We took someone for a wedding present, we took someone on holiday there for a week. There was a fella on the beach who, he worked in one of them huts, you know how they sell deck chairs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's a pretty nice job, especially in the summer, innit? The sun's out, you sat there, all you've got to do is talk to people, say, what do you want, 2 deck chairs, there you go, no problem, see you later. But this fella, right, I went in there, got the chairs, took 'em back, he was being really moody. He said, so you got a lot of sand on 'em. I said, well, there's loads of it out there. It's not a surprise that it's stuck on, and he had a bit of a moan at me. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned that, sort of.
Well, maybe
openly.
he recognised you.
But that isn't a diss, that's one person, isn't it?
If you're from Cornwall and you've got any reason to
But there's
dislike
not many people live in Cornwall, it's a very small community. I mean, no wonder they don't want to be part of us, with people like you slagging them off.
I love Cornwall, got nothing
So do
against
I think Cornwall's beautiful. You're an idiot.
Uh-huh.
Don't, anyone in Cornwall, do not judge the rest of the nation by Karl Pilkington, it's not fair. I sometimes wonder imagine if he's the one that archaeologists dig up in a million years' time.
Yeah.
And find some of his notes, and they measure the head and everything, and then some of the ramblings that he did. Do you know
Or
what
if
I mean?
an alien comes down, it would just be him that they'd bump into.
That would be just our luck, wouldn't
I
it?
tell you what though, talking of like education and that, I know I'm sort of not the brightest bloke knocking about and that, right? But I treat myself the other day to a new mobile, right? And you know, going through it, getting used to it, getting used to how to send text and all that. And you know the predictive text?
Yeah.
So if you send a text, you type it in,
Yeah.
and that sort of guesses what you're going to write out,
Yeah.
right? And it's new, so it doesn't really know me yet, right? And I was sending a text to someone to say something like, I ain't got a clue or something, right? Wrote ain't, right? A-I-N-T. Looked up at the screen to make sure that he'd written it right. That had written up biotechnology.
What?
That had predicted that I was going to use the word biotechnology. I am never going to use that word. Ever.
What? I ain't got a clue.
No, ain't. A-I-N-T.
Yeah.
I wrote that, just A-I-N-T on the phone. Looked up.
I love the fact that you've got a cleverer phone than you. Song for lovers.
People have been wondering whether the show is live or if it's pre-recorded. Well, if it weren't live, then how could Grace email in telling us how much she hates the show?
Brilliant.
She says, she says, Dear Ricky, I think you are a prat.
She's got my attention already.
She opens with that, comes in straight away.
That's her opening gambit.
But she doesn't just leave it there, she qualifies it. She says, all you do is slag people off on your show and think it's funny. I disagree. We've slagged off Karl.
Yeah.
But he's pretty much the only one.
But Karl, all I've said is you are stupid, and, I mean, by your own admission, you must know you're stupid, don't you?
Get by on that, but yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's a fair comment, isn't it? And the other people we slagged off are people who'd like to see foxes ripped to pieces, so which I stand by.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
I'm sick of listening to you be rude about the world and certain people. Rude about the world? Are we being rude about the world? Well, anyway, I have to turn off the radio. I'm surprised anyone listens to you. Please try growing up.
Oh, she missed her dedication. Oh, that's a shame.
What annoys me with Grace is that,
Nothing annoys me about Grace. Careful, what are you doing?
all I say is I think she's...
opinion.
No, I'm saying she's...
And?
I'm saying, Rick, she should have criticised us for the obvious problems. We're incompetent.
We're not very good
not
at all.
entertaining. We've drone on too much.
Yeah, but we
We're
don't
not
slag off the
amusing,
world.
but
We
we
love the
don't slag off
world.
the world.
We love the world and Karl. In fact, the thing is about the world and Karl is that he's the same shape as the world, and that's why I like him, because that's all you need there, little round...
I cannot but think the pot calling the kettle black there, Rick.
What? My body's round. My head is sort of fat and square. So how dare you?
Just quickly before we move on to the final bit of the sermon, we just thinking back to some of the other highlights of the year. One of mine, Rick, I'm sure one of yours, Live 8.
Live 8 was great
Magnificent.
fun.
Not only was it a great day, but obviously you know, it made its message very much clear and open to the world. Did you enjoy Live 8, Karl?
Yeah, it was alright. It's, you know, quite a good thing. I mean, has it sorted the problems out, or...?
Well, it's more about raising awareness, isn't it, and bringing that to the world's attention.
I'm aware of it, so yeah, it's sort of done the job on that.
Yeah.
But I read something about,
Unbelievable.
do you know, but, you know, because Live 8 was all about money and stuff, wasn't it, giving money and
No, it wasn't really.
Well...
It was about awareness, but it was about, the G8...
Dropping the debt.
Cancelling the debt to I think the 20th poorest nations or something, which I think...
Yeah.
Probably about
Well, then I was reading up on that, and there was something about, do you know Bill Gates?
Yeah.
Who did the computer stuff, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's the
Microsoft. Yeah.
wealthiest man in the world or something.
Absolutely, I think the first 100 billionaire.
Wow.
Was he?
That is a lot of money, because they worked out, they put to him that, with his labour, what his labour's worth, he would have to drop over $6,000 to be bothered to pick it up.
Wow.
And they asked him, and he said, well, of course I'd pick it up, you know, because it doesn't work like that. But yes, he's that rich.
Well, he could just pay someone to do it as well, couldn't he?
Okay, get on with it, Karl. Again, you've missed the point.
No,
I mean, again, you've missed the point.
But all I'm saying...
Sorry, Gracie, in wherever you are, Karl's an idiot, and I stand by it.
Bill Gates...
And don't rip foxes to pieces.
He's got that much money, right? He's saying that he could give everyone in the world, right, £6.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, right? Just what I was thinking and what I were to say to you, see what you think, right? Do you think it's fair that everybody gets £6?
Right, why? What's your point?
What do you mean? You should mean the poor should get more?
Well, no, not really. What I mean is, say, like, if you live in Africa, right?
Yeah.
You can get a lot more for, say, £1 there than you can in London. So what I'm saying is, rather than £6 each,
Yeah.
maybe give people in London a tenner each. In Africa or whatever, give them about £3, £3.50.
So you're saying, give the poorest people
less.
so they can get as much for their money in their Argos.
Yeah, basically.
You're saying, if you were to redistribute wealth, you'd give the poor people slightly less than the rich people because they've got a higher standard of living. Gracie, once again, can I come back to you on this? Do you know now why I call him a Oh, you know what I like about Gracie? She told the truth and she put her name. It's Grace, actually. She put her name down. Some people, I mean, just say you're a prat and they don't even
They just
tell
shout at you across the street. Hey, fat man! You're not funny!
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, I rest my case. Karl, you're an idiot.
Alright.
Robert Post and a song called Got None, one of my favourites of the year. It's almost the end of this. Radio 2, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington.
It's been a pleasure doing these two specials. If we're invited again, keep your emails coming. Not Grace. Keep your emails to yourself. No, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Please send them in, and we learnt something, haven't we, Karl?
No,
he hasn't. Okay, good. It was a long shot.
Yeah.
It was, you know what I mean?
Chances were slim.
Yeah, I know. But we've been doing a sermon because, we've got a lot of vicars listening for some reason. And think of that.
Karl's final part of the
You know,
sermon.
we're hardly their pin-up, are we? You know what I mean? The vicar's going, oh, I must listen to that show. It's so cool. And there was a thing in the, I think the Mirror this week about, vicars are now, podcasting. They're, doing their sermon as a podcast and download it for busy people who can't get to church all the time. And they had the chart of the what's the #1 podcast in the world?
Well, I think it's Ricky Gervais podcast.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It is #1 in the world. Yes, it is. So that's why we're doing this. In fact, you should do a full version of this and put it on. Yeah, let's do it.
No,
For people who can't, because this is valuable time, and Grace doesn't want to hear it. So just do the final. I suppose, what would you call this?
Sermon.
Summing up with the Bible, then we do a longer one.
Well, no, it's not sort of summed up. Because, to be honest, after the Noah bit and stuff, I was a bit like, oh, this.
Oh, just do it. Just do it. Okay, this is the final. This is the final episode of the Bible. Well, the greatest story ever told.
No, but it's not the final chapter. This is just another bit in it that I thought I can relate to.
Get to the end.
You couldn't even read a children's Bible. They had to go to Waterstones and ask 2 people for, and they put it in a brown paper bag.
It's 200 and odd pages and that.
Oh.
So the one that I picked up on, right, that I could relate to.
Okay.
Do you know Samson and Delilah?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what happened in that?
Yes.
Right, well, just in case you haven't heard the story of Samson and Delilah, what it is, I think God had a word with some bloke, I can't remember his name, I think it's Manoah or something his name was.
Right.
He said, listen, I'm still having problems, Adam and Eve let me down.
He didn't say that, by the way. Anyone listening, at no point has God ever said, Adam and Eve let me down.
No,
Anyway.
and then he had a word with Noah, he did the boat thing, so he said, I can't ask for 2 favours, right?
Sure.
So he asked this other bloke, Manoah.
He was happy with Noah, though, was he?
Yeah. He let him go on, though. It's like jury service. Once you've done it, you're left alone for a bit, aren't you? So anyway,
Did he
right,
he didn't bother getting the fish on the boat, did he?
I don't know.
They were happy, weren't they? Surely.
But anyway,
although was it salt water everywhere? Why didn't the freshwater fish die out?
Rick, I'm just going to stop you there because we've still got to get monkey news in before 1 o'clock.
So he had a word with this fella, and he said, look, what I'm going to do, you're going to have a kid soon. It's going to be a little boy, right? And when he grows up, he's going to sort out my problems. So it was like a long-term plan that he had sorted, right? So anyway, they have the kid, right? They're happy. They've got a little baby boy. They go, right, what we'll do to show our respect to God, we'll never cut his hair, right? Because he'll like that, right?
We're still in the Old Testament, aren't we?
I don't think Jesus is going to make an appearance, frankly.
So they called him Samson,
Yeah.
right? And he grew up, right? Never cut his hair.
Yeah.
His hair made him strong, right? He was going about, he was helping people out, he was stopping wars and that because he was so strong. His hair made him strong and that, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, nobody knew that. Nobody knew it was his hair that did the job. So, this is right so far, isn't it?
I don't know the ins and outs.
So anyway, what happened is, women are loving him all of a sudden. He's got nice long hair and that, he looks the part, he's stopping problems. Women are going, he's a good fellow, isn't he, this Samson bloke?
Like Stringfellow.
Anyway.
That's the power of pulling, is in Stringfellow's hair.
Yeah.
That's why he never cuts it.
Exactly.
Whatever the decade, Peter Stringfellow never cuts his hair, because that's where the power lies.
Anyway, he didn't realise he had this power until one day, he got up, right, did his hair and that, went out, a lion jumped out.
Oh.
He killed it with his hands, with his bare hands.
Wow.
Right? So again, Noah was a bit annoyed, because that's one of the ones that he saved. But anyway, right, so he goes, I can't believe this power I've got, right? I'm gonna, like, sort out the world's
Didn't the lion have long hair, though, as well? Well, no, well, just what?
No, but you're always picking on the to be honest, though, that's as far as I got, anyway.
That's it. So if you were interested by those, you can buy the Bible in all good bookshops and read the rest. Is that what you're saying?
Or any religious book.
Yes. We don't remember the Torah, the
discriminate.
Quran.
BBC Radio 2. Right, it's that time again. It's what the nation's been waiting for.
Yeah.
Oh, chimpanzee that! Monkey news!
Right, this is something that I do know about, alright? Monkeys have been up to anything in the world. This is what I'm on. Do you know what this is
Yeah,
what I'm on top of this. This one, it's pretty recent. Monkey was knocking about New York.
Oh, yeah.
He got locked up for, like, nicking stuff and all the rest of it, right? Anyway, that's the past.
I don't know where. It's pointless.
Well, hang on,
Steve, does that
but you know
look
what I
like
mean?
a
If that's the opening gambit, if I don't come in there, when do I come in? Do you know what I mean? If I don't pick him up on that, when do I come in?
Steve, I can show you the original.
Nicking stuff.
Anyway, so he worked on a plan to escape.
Oh, shut up!
Right, and he'd worked it all out. He saw the bloke with the keys and that.
How do we know this? How do we know this?
This isn't even the main bit of the story. I wouldn't even worry about it.
Because no, because he's embellished and it's.
So anyway,
I've said this before. I'm going to say it now. You do not interrupt the news. It's the news.
So anyway, right. So the monkey gets out. He's roaming about free. Word gets out that he's escaped and that, right? The copper, I think his name's P.C. Wilcox of NYPD, right?
Police Constable Wilcox of the New York Police Constable Wilcox.
Leave it.
Yeah.
We've only got a few minutes left, please.
Dixon of Queens.
So he got a call to sort of assist, you know, this monkey roaming
P.C. Wilcox of the New York PD.
Ricky!
Because they were having problems catching it, Right?
So he was called in?
So he was out on his motorbike looking what's going on. Anyway, cut a long story short, he manages to catch up with the monkey. Right?
Why, did the monkey have a car?
He got it in like a little
Why did the monkey
alleyway.
steal a car, Karl?
Anyway, so he had him, he gave him the rights and everything, you know, everything he used to say and all that business. He said,
Whoa,
Steve.
Monkeys don't talk.
So
Karl,
Steve.
Karl, monkey, he didn't need to say anything you say, maybe take it down.
So anyway,
Karl, look
Steve,
at me
right?
as well.
No,
Karl,
I'm just telling Steve because he's listening.
But Karl, think of
It's
what
easy
you're
to put
saying.
stuff
Yeah,
down.
just ignore him.
So
Ignore
anyway,
him,
the cop, you know, the monkey's like fair cop, right? He's on the back of the motorbike being taken back to the station.
Yeah.
Anyway, Wilcox gets a call on
PC Wilcox,
on the radio,
Sure.
saying, you know, listen, there's been another problem,
Oh, no.
right? Will you?
There was a diversion, there was a gang.
There was a gang. Right?
Oh.
So he said, can you go and sort it out? And he's like, well, I've got a monkey on my back. He said, well, take it with you.
Was he on
right?
drugs?
So anyway,
Isn't that what junkies say?
so he goes down to the scene where it's all kicking off. Monkey's just sat on the motorbike thinking, I'm not going to try and get away, it'll just make the matter worse, right? He's sat there. The gang,
Hold on, was he wearing a crash helmet?
the gang, sort of, you know, he saw all that going off. Copper goes up.
Sorry, was this a gang of humans?
So anyway, it's kicking off, right? There's a gang, and they're all having a fight and what have you.
Gang of what?
Anyway, it gets out of hand because Wilcox, even though he sort of helps out the person who was being beaten up, he walks off, the gang starts picking on the copper.
Oh, no.
So, the monkey thinks, best help out here.
Oh,
He goes up,
Oh,
right?
no.
Anyway, cut a long story short,
yeah.
they let the monkey off, he got keys to the city. Steve,
How did he help out the policeman?
have a look at that. Have a look, there's the facts. There's the
It's not
facts.
fact. It never happened.
That's the facts.
I mean, everything about it's wrong. Everything about it is
Police
nonsense.
constable.
Steve?
Well, all I say is there's a picture here of a monkey brandishing a gun. If that's not truth, if that's not fact,
Have a look.
then there it is right there.
What is it? Should we have some real news?
Well, what is that?
I'm dumbfounded by that monkey news.
But it's all there, Steve.
Okay, well, I'm going to give it a full assessment.
Let's see if there's the news coming up. See if there's any stories like that in this. Right, on 88 to 91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, wait on. Oh, jeez. Okay, this one was a rough one. I think the sermon was not needed. I think that's like 45 minutes that can be cut out of this whole show. Ah, God, imagine if they just let him go on. Imagine if they didn't. You know, I usually get upset, like Ricky interfering with, like, interrupting the monkey news. This, no, he should have just stopped. He should have just completely halted the whole thing. God, he's so tedious in the way he just, oh, God. You know, it's a good thing he doesn't give actual sermons. Oh, my God. Whew, that was rough. Yeah, and yes, and blah blah. Sorry, it's fried my brain. Oh yeah, I can't even remember. Like some Rockbusters thing, and some. There were some nice stories in the beginning, although I have a feeling they've been mentioned. The cinema thing, I'm sure Steve mentioned. The Rampack thing, that sounds familiar. I think it was mentioned as well. Sounds very familiar to me. But the thing with the helmet was new. That was new. I didn't. It's so funny. That was like his dad is willing to, but his son, he's willing to lose his son rather than put up with having to see him look stupid in a helmet like that. That's so extreme. God, poor Karl. I mean, he didn't really have a chance, you know, between his dad and his mom. His dad being like that, and his mom being like, you know, God, it's just, of course he was gonna grow up to be exactly like Karl. Wow. One of these days, you know, like I really hope Karl one of these days just like writes a book about all his dad's stories. I really hope he just compiles that somehow. It would be a waste, to be honest. I have no idea if his parents are still alive, but it would be a waste. Honestly, his dad seems like a treasure of stories. Imagine, these are all the stories we heard from Karl, secondhand. You know, so we don't even know what would happen if we heard them from the source, from Karl's dad. Whew, God. I don't know. God. Okay. Well, we survived that one. You know, really, 45 minutes should be shaved from this show just for that endless sermon about the way he just he says something like, I think God met up with a bloke. Like, who says that? Oh God, the way he says it. Come on, you can't say it like that, man. It's still though. It's too much. It's too much. A three-parter is a little too much for that. Anyway, that concludes the Christmas special. Those are the 2 parts. Next up, I think it's the enemy test show. I'm not sure. I'll check that. You know, I think that's chronologically correct. Plus, there's a whole like a lot of like small Karl clips, you know, that I need to compile into one reaction video because they're too small. Some of them I'm seeing like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So I'd combine, you know, into several into one clip. Something else also I've been considering doing, I'm thinking of like, because you guys have been putting some real gems in the comments section. So I'm thinking I would go through the comments and maybe, you know, mention some of them in like the videos. Maybe something, highlight some of them, because there's some real good information there. I don't know how you guys do it, to be honest. Like, I don't know where you get this information from. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make like a, you know, some compilation of like small videos and some comments. Yeah. For now,